Hi everyone, it's Viktor speaking, and today we will be speaking about the Neptune-Mars opposition, which is going to be taking place on the 2nd or the 3rd of September, depending on where you are. And it's going to be happening on 22 degrees of Virgo to Pisces. Now, this channel is designed for those who want to learn about astrology or who want some help to navigate their life with the energies surrounding us. So if you do like the video, press like, share the content with others. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that I can create more content. Or if you would like to learn with me, then you can go on my website, AstroViktor.com, and you will be able to find plenty of webinars and courses to your likings. And the next one I'm going to be doing is a solar return chart reading course, not just with the basics, but there are going to be some advanced techniques introduced as well, such as hermetic lots, patterns in the solar return chart, and how to spot the biggest life events in your solar return chart in the next 10-20 years. And you don't have to necessarily look at all the solar return charts. You can see that without that also. So without any further ado, let's talk about Neptune-Mars opposition. There is loads to cover here. So as I mentioned, it's going to be happening on 22 degree Virgo to 22 degree of Pisces. Now, this aspect typically is about feeling guilty over some action you might have done, you might have said, and now you just want to kind of hide away a little bit. Mars, at the end of the day, is something to do with the action we take, the reason why we get out of bed each morning. It's something to do with our drive. And Neptune is actually a little bit of a polarity of Mars, because it has got the inability to act on things. It slows things down. It's more like a watery energy. So try to imagine a soldier who is actually trying to swim in the ocean. Kind of impossible. After a while, it gets tired. So we can also feel that our action, what we are trying to do or achieve, is somehow not coming to an end, and then we have got all these endless tasks going on. But we can also feel guilty because we forgot to say or act on something, or we can be actually confused about what action we need to be taken. Now, because it's an opposition, it usually involves a third party as well. So actually, other people's actions could be confusing you, and then you scratch in your head like, what is going on? Why do people do certain things? Why do they say certain things as well for us? So a confusion of words. But Mars is very strategic, so actually you can become confused about what strategy to use also. So as I mentioned, opposition usually involves someone else. Now, if it was a conjunction, usually something happens within us. Or it's very possible that someone says something to you or does something, and then you take it in the wrong way. We can also become very sarcastic on this day. So just we need to be watching out for that also. Now, for instance, if you are in a relationship, because oppositions does talk about how we relate with others, it's kind of like a seesaw energy, and it needs maintenance and it needs balance. Now, it's very possible that, for instance, if you are cheated on or you are cheating on someone, then actually it might get revealed, because Mars pries things, pries for information. So, and then it kind of becomes a little bit more volatile. Whatever Mars touches, it kind of like pokes it overall. So definitely, you need to be watching out for anything to do with scandals, anything to do with revealing secrets. You might actually hear a lot more about other people's secrets, but also you have got this desire to reveal your own secrets to others as well. Now, what I also noticed actually that Mars is sitting on Venus and Jupiter midpoint. So with the Venusian element, it could really bring in something to do with love and money. And the Jupiter is also about abundance as well. So we can actually get some reveal about financial situation in the world, as well as of our financial situation. You might want to be very careful because Neptune and Mars opposition can be a scamming alert as well. So watch out for scammers around you. But I also would like to mention that Neptune is actually sitting on Mercury's Anthesia. Now, if you don't know what Anthesia is, I've already made a video about that, so I recommend checking that out. But basically, this Anthesia is like Neptune and Mercury conjunction. So we can be very confused when it comes to our thought patterns, the way how we communicate. And of course, Mars actually pokes the communication style significantly. So in my opinion, this Neptune-Mars opposition is definitely about gossips, news, fake news as well, or people are going to be taking some misleading actions and then you have no idea what is going on around you as well. Your thoughts can be quite scattered today. And then you might be saying the wrong things, or you might feel attacked, or your communication style can be a little bit more attacking as well. We do need to be watching out for anything like cyber attacks, or someone is trying to get information from our laptop, you know, or looking at your bank details and all those type of things. Now, Neptune is an extremely spiritual planet. And therefore, it is very hard for plenty of people to actually integrate that spirituality into their life. Even those who are claiming to be spiritual, just like myself, you know, at the end of the day, it is a hard task to do. It is kind of hard to give in to the universal flow. So therefore, to master Neptunian energies is probably one of the hardest one. It does bring in an element of lack of focus with this aspect. We can become very scattered. You kind of feel like your energy is flowing out of your body. So being scattered, because Neptune actually has got this perfectionism going on. Remember that it is associated with Pisces, the modern ruler of Pisces. And Pisces, contrary to the popular belief, is a perfectionist sign because it has got that idealism going on, the ideal world created in heaven, for instance. And everyone imagines how heaven should be like, and there is peace there, and everyone loves each other, and all those type of lovely things. So, and then of course we are trying to thrive for that. Now, this opposition happens in the sign of Virgo to Pisces. So definitely about perfectionism as well, because we want to achieve something ideal, but Virgo talks about that we need to be practical about that too. So it's not just about dreaming about where I want to be, but what I'm also going to be doing in order for me to achieve that. So with this aspect, it's a little bit harder to find the flow in our life. Now, Neptune also represents something which we need to surrender or let go of. So it might be talking about that we need to let go of some of the routines we might be having. We might need to revise that a little bit. And of course, Neptune also rules over disappointment as well. So there could be some disappointment in the relationship. Maybe the partner said the wrong thing, or that's not exactly what you wanted to hear. And this time around, you're going to have to deal with it. But the most importantly, you're going to have to let go of it. This aspect typically says, stop fighting, stop trying too hard. Sometimes to let go of something serves the universal flow more. Therefore, you can benefit a lot more if you just slow down or step back a little bit and basically being a little bit more strategic, which is actually very hard with Neptunian energy. So if I wanted to kind of describe this in the symbol on cards, you might want to be looking up on that. It would be a soldier laying down next to a tree, and he's sleeping. He's actually retreating, and he's sleeping about himself standing over the body, and actually he's getting a divine message. So this card is also representing that if you go to sleep a little bit, sleep on something, slow down, you might get a divine insight of what your next step should be. So it's not all about rushing things through. Also, it's very possible that you're going to have to process with something you have lost. So it could talk about that you need to meditate a little bit. You know, you need to see the universal energies in that loss. Why did that happen to me? Is there another opportunity ahead of me? Now, it's not only Neptune is being opposed by Mars, but also Pallas Athene as well. Because Pallas Athene is in conjunction with Neptune. Now, Pallas is kind of like, Pallas and Mars opposition is like a tug of war between whether we fight to fix what is wrong or we're going to be accepting the fact and then we are going to be moving on. So definitely these aspects are very much about to change strategy and somehow the need to negotiate with others as well. Finding that middle golden road between Neptune and Mars. Neptune and Mars typically is like sticking your head in the sand because it talks about escapism rather than trying to work on the problem. We might feel very lost or we might feel defeated with this aspect. We can feel worn out as well, and then you might just want to be sleeping all the time. You don't find that motivation anymore, let's say, to go to the gym because Mars is in the sign of Virgo. You can be very confused about what action I should be taking. Am I on the right path? We tend to be actually crying with this aspect, and then we don't necessarily know why it's happening, right? So, of course, Mars being in the sign of Virgo, we have got that very strong desire to make things better, to make things more practical, to put things in work in order. And this time around, Neptune actually kind of restricts that. Because we become uncertain about what is happening. So meditation, praying, seeking out for guidance from others actually could be very helpful. But also, this aspect could talk about discouragement as well, or you just feel physically weak. It could be that that your energy is extremely low today when it comes to being competitive or even when it comes to sexuality. And that could bring some type of frustration, for instance, in your relationship. So this is not necessarily an aspect when we should be trying to achieve something or thriving for success. However, if you want to initiate something, it's always Mars you should be looking at in your own chart, especially let's say you want to be launching a product or you want to get into the service industry. It's always Mars you want to be, for instance, in a very good aspect to your 6th house ruler or to your 6th house cusp as well. Okay, so Mars always wants to win, and this time around, we don't know how we're gonna get there. We don't know how we're gonna win. So your performing level can actually be can lead to embarrassment, but also this aspect could talk about physical illness as well, and that's the reason why you are weaker than usually. Very possible to be deceived by others. So just be careful about it. You might want to be chasing rainbows because Mars always wants to take risks. And this time around, well, our judgment is kind of clouded. And then we just running after our goals like chicken without heads. And then we never get there. So that's also a possibility to end up with some type of disappointment or even loss because of that. Now, Neptune in your chart can represent kind of that victim role as well. So something can trigger this victimized feeling within yourself as well. So as I said, watch out for like these marketing schemes watch out for drugs or online dating, or don't get involved in conspiracy theories, because it's just going to be hard to get your head around it this time around. The best course of action to do is to somehow conserve your energies if possible. Now, in my opinion, Mars-Neptune opposition can be actually very fascinating as well as frustrating as well. So Mars represents your willpower, your desire, the urge to survive. So as I mentioned, Mars gets you up in the morning from the bed, which is very comfortable, and that confidence is going to be kind of the Neptunian energy. Mars is going to be the planet which is actually forcing you to run every single morning, right? Even if it's raining out there. Mars actually pushes you out of your way. It fights. It fights for what it wants. It points out differences. It shouts out loud when it's needed because it has got the courage. Now, Neptune is kind of like an otherly planet. It is on the other plane altogether. So it talks about interconnectedness. It talks about sameness. It is very imaginative. It goes with the flow. So it's kind of like a herd going forward. Like, imagine that there is this running competition and everyone is holding hands, running together, and basically no one kind of wants to win, type of thing. So, and then at the end of the day, you know, there was no winner. I'm just wondering why. So we can definitely feel lost with that. And of course, Neptune always dreams of a better place. So it's very idealistic. So these two together is kind of like a spiritual warrior aspect. And this is the reason why I've chosen the background picture as well, because that would be the highest manifestation of this aspect, to become a spiritual fighter. So it can indicate that today you're going to be fighting with your own inner demons, or actually you can fight with other people's demons as well. On a higher note, it definitely can give the courage to kind of live up to your dreams, but just make sure that you don't want to live up to other people's expectations as well, because they can become endless. Or you can use this aspect to fight for the underprivileged people or victims in your life. You can actually take on some charity projects as well to do something for the society. And actually, this aspect can help you attract others who might benefit from you, or you are going to be benefiting from others also. So on a psychological level, definitely this is a challenging aspect. Probably one of the most difficult one is not knowing what we want from life. We are very like fueled with vivid imaginations. We want to be thriving for the impossible. But also Neptune is something to do with our inner demons as well. So kind of those monsters underneath the bed. So it's very possible that actually they get poked once you want to start something. Or typically, for instance, in a child's chart, Neptune-Mars opposition could talk about the imaginary friends. And they do exist, right? We just don't see them. And it's easier for the kids to see and communicate with them. And usually they want to be very helpful. But of course, because we're limiting ourselves of seeing them, it can become very scary at the beginning. And then what happens is I'm going to go out there and then I'm going to lose myself in drinking, or I'm going to be taking drugs, or I'm going to take a medication because I've got a serious headache, or I am unable to sleep. So it could cause insomnia as well. And then once I sleep, I might have got these very vivid dreams. Even they can be nightmares as well at the same time. So in very extreme cases, Mars and Neptune opposition could talk about outright deception as well. You can deceive yourself, and of course, you can get deceived by others as well. Also, Mars represents something to do with your sexual energies. So it could cause something like confusion about your sexual role, for instance, in your relationship, but it could also indicate some sexual identity issues as well. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about I turn to be gay or I'm gonna be lesbian from tomorrow and I've got all those type of desires, but it could be like the fact that am I actually in a committed relationship or am I used for sexual activities and all those type of things. So kind of like the love situation can be questioned with this aspect also. Maybe, you know, it's very possible that we're going to start dreaming about, you know, oh, I would love to sleep with this porn star, or I would like to be in this glamorous film. So we can have all those type of fantasies. We can have all those type of kind of like sexual encounters in our life. Be careful that you're not going to be calling someone else's name while you are while you are having an intimate moment with your partner, because also that could be very possible as well. Now, as I mentioned, confusion around your sexual identity, kind of like what I meant also by that is that what is required me to do in the relationship? Is it enough? Is it not enough? Do I actually please my partner? All these type of questions can come up as a issue or something you might need to be speaking about. Remember, Neptune is sitting on Mercury's on this year, so communication will definitely help here. Also, you know, as I mentioned, this is a spiritual warrior aspect. So a spiritual warrior always wants to be merging with others. So doing that through sexual activities today can be actually very pleasing, but probably it needs to be a romantic settings to it because of that Neptunian energy to it. Connecting to your true desires, that could be also something this Neptune Mars opposition could be talking about. Just you need to make sure that your fears are not going to keeping you from reaching your goals. Also, anything to do with dance or martial arts could be very good for this way. Even some type of music, yeah, dancing and music could be really something which might help to dissolve the anger within yourself. Because with Mars being in the sign of Virgo, it's a little bit frustrated. Now, Neptune kind of magnifies that. So definitely we're going to have to deal with some type of anger as well, which might have been poisoning your life for a while now, and then it gets pinpointed to you this time around. Also, some type of tantric sexual matters could be very helpful to gain that spiritual connection, for instance, with your intimate partner. Also, Neptune Mars opposition could talk about spiritual leaders. So connecting with a spiritual leader actually can be helping you to envision your future. Because this aspect really wants to see into the future, surely. But also, in order for us to do that, we're going to have to deal with our past as well. Now, another little danger with this aspect. Oh, by the way, I would like also to mention that it's very possible to have some type of transcendent experiences with Mars and Neptune opposition also, and it can become very scary at the beginning. Now, another danger with Neptune and Mars, because it tends to be very focused on outer relationship with others, but we have got a tendency to project things onto our surroundings. And we are trying to, and we can cause some problematic nature around this. So remember that Neptune represents your unconscious mind, and this time around it's getting triggered by Mars, and Mars is going to be poking it. It makes Neptune feel very frustrated. So that's where the distortion in our action and expression could be coming from. So try to kind of run away from any type of confrontation today, because it's very easy to say something misleading or being misled, and sometimes it's just an subconscious matter. And your own attitude can really reflect back at you as well. We can become very suspicious with this aspect, so we just want to be seeing the what's their motive behind the scenes. So it's quite hard to trust with this aspect. Yeah, so that's what pretty much the Mars and Neptune opposition talk about. So I hope this video helps you to have a better understanding. And you watch out for these 3 days, because this could be very prominent. Now, also just pay attention to physical exercises, for instance, which is very Mars again. You can be daydreaming, you can drop a weight on your foot and so forth. So just step back a little bit, analyze situations a little bit more, and then make sure you take the right action. Thank you, everyone, and see you very shortly with another video. Bye-bye.